Hey, Nikki.
Hey, Salina.
Hey, y'all, and welcome to this week's Extra Sugar. So today we are taking that's the most normal I've ever said, extra sugar. That's how nervous I am. So what we're doing today is we're talking about Jim Colucci's 2016 book, Golden Girls Forever, an unauthorized look behind the lanai. This is a book club episode. I just want to say, I'm just going to say it from the top. We're a little nervous about this one. It's a really dense book.
It's a dense book. It covers almost every single episode too. So it feels like it's these kind of like distinct universes, and you're trying to put all your thoughts together in a way that makes sense.
Yes, I've also been reading this at night.
As you're falling asleep.
Yeah. And I read the beginning, then I saw what the episode by episode thing was doing, and I was like, then I skipped past that and I went to the end, and then I've come back and started working with my way through the middle. I'm going to go ahead and rip the Band-Aid off here. I did not finish all of the episode by episode breakdowns. It's like,
I told you didn't have to.
A lot.
It's a lot.
I still think I read up to 70 episodes worth, which I feel like is good.
Yeah.
It's
well done. Good job. It's so good.
Yeah, it's like a D. I give myself a D.
That seems low.
For everyone, I know there's a lot of Golden Girls books. This was brought to my attention by a listener, maybe a few listeners actually. So I'm actually not going to name in case I leave someone out and I feel bad. On publication, this is the book that became the complete first ever Golden Girls retrospective. It had hundreds of exclusive interviews, behind the scenes, never before revealed stories, tons of photos, a lot of commentary. So this thing is really, really jam-packed. I did poke around for some critical reception to the book and see how well it's done. I don't know if you did that at all, Nikki, but
I did not.
I really found nothing.
Oh, okay.
Apparently people don't put the numbers out there for books like that. It's not like a movie. Mm-hmm. I don't really understand what's going on there because it's not like I know a ton about the book publishing industry.
All we're asking is for a little transparency in book publishing industry.
Is
that too much to ask for?
This is what I'm asking for today, in this very moment.
Right now.
Yeah, probably I won't ask for it in 4 minutes, but right now I could have used it. Anecdotally, what I will say is that it is pretty beloved by fans, to be so young compared to I don't know, the show and how many books there have been. It's like the creme de la creme of this kind of behind the scenes pop culture genre. The Golden Girls Deep Dive podcast, I had not listened to it, but I did listen to 2 Jim Colucci episodes because I wanted to get to know a little bit more about the book. Mm-hmm. That was actually incredibly helpful. So for those of you who have not listened to his episodes on that Deep Dive podcast, I would highly encourage you to do that because you get things from that interview that you do not get from this book. Because what he talks about is time with the Golden Girls. And he got to talk to everyone except for Estelle Getty.
Yeah, I noticed that he had quotes in here from them, and I wasn't sure if it was directly from them or if it was that he pulled it from other interviews that they had done.
I mean, this must have been, I don't really understand what his process was.
Yeah.
But he's also written one about Will and Grace.
Yes, I saw that.
And so it sounds like he had wrapped that one up, or at least interviews and stuff for it, and whatever work he was doing on the set, because he was actually in there on the set with them.
Oh, my.
And then for Golden Girls, he was still talking to them in the 06, 07 range, I think. And so maybe even a little bit before that, because I think Estelle Getty died in 04. So all to say, this book doesn't come out until 2016. He did an incredible amount of work for this book. And you can really feel that. It is there's a lot. Mm-hmm. And there's it's really great. But that podcast also calls it the Bible of the Golden Girls. And I think that's very true. Mm-hmm. You could totally use this as a reference book. Mm-hmm. Again, I just did not get through all 368 pages. That said, I do feel like I can still talk about it. But I wanted to be honest with you and with everyone because I think this is the first time we've met about a book and I didn't finish. So
that's okay. Book clubs are notorious for people not finishing the book.
I'm the one.
You're okay. I will say and we'll talk about this later, but with Christmas coming up, this would be a beautiful gift for our Golden Girl fan because it is also very, beautiful. Like you said, it is like a reference book. So if you want to know all the plot holes in Golden Girls, I don't think I realized there were quite so many inconsistencies in Golden Girls and in the backstories and stuff. And this tells you all about it. I bought mine on thrift books, so I got mine secondhand, but you can buy a brand new one.
Yeah. I got on my Kindle.
Okay.
Which I also actually think made it really painful because I was needing to flip around in this one.
So you don't get like the full visual?
Not like that. The pages are actually quite askew.
Oh.
So
no. Well, you're missing out on a lot because there's a lot of really cool visual. I'm showing her. A lot of really beautiful visuals in here, and the design is
they're
beautiful.
in there. I think they're also in black and white in my version. So, I mean, and some of those are black and white.
I wanted you, in particular, Salina, to see the costume design piece. We didn't watch this Henny Penny episode, which felt like a missed opportunity for us, but we can only do so much. Sure. But the costume design was really, really pretty, the way they illustrated the designs.
Yeah, very cool. And there is that in there, but again, black and white, I'm pretty sure.
See it in color.
I'm pretty, either that or, like I said, it's late at night. And apparently my vision becomes black and white at night.
You turn black and white.
Yeah, it's like
you go into what do they call it? The black and white mode on your phone that sort of rests your brain a little bit. Exactly. You go into that.
Sure do. It's just slowly turning off. You know what I'm saying? So the other thing I just want to say in general is I just found Jim Colucci to be a gosh darn delight. So I really, really, really am glad. I would highly encourage you, Nikki, if you're interested, to go listen to those episodes because his stories about particularly about meeting B. Arthur, I think they're everything.
Okay.
I like love her and respect her, and I'm scared of her.
She seems terrifying. She seems very scary.
I love it. It's so crazy. I wish I was that scary. How do we share the same birthday? And I'm not even 100th as scary as she is. I find that fascinating.
Yeah, I went to look into Jim Colucci after the ABC 2020 special because I'm not sure I had fully put together that the guy that they kept quoting and interviewing throughout that special was this same person. It took me a minute to put those pieces together. So then I was looking into him because I was like, how does one get into that line of work?
Totally.
Like, how do you write the unofficial, unauthorized, yet most revered take on Golden Girls and behind the scenes? He's a freelance writer, entertainment writer. That's that.
Yep, that's right.
So
my dream job.
Yes,
and my actual job.
Sure, of course, yeah. Thinking about approaching this, our first sort of section
just go ahead and turn it off.
General reactions. What did we like, not like? What stuck with us? This is tough. Like, where do we even start? I will say I loved all the background tidbits that he shared. So you're saying a lot of this came from interviews with folks, but there was also a little bit of a the show, like putting the show in context. Okay,
like soup to nuts.
Yes. So he talked about how part of the impetus for the Golden Girls was the USA Today factoids about women over 50 having a 1 in 11 billion chance of remarrying. There was a quote in there. It was always some sad statistic, and it reinforced what we were feeling about Miami Nice, which was that little skit they did, that somehow these women would be there for each other and they would take a really difficult reality and make a bright picture out of it. That resonated with me because we talked about those factoids on more than one occasion during our Designing Women coverage. And it just made me realize that had to have been like so in the zeitgeist. But I never knew that's sort of where the show came from.
Right. Yeah, that's interesting.
The opening of the book also talked a lot about how it was one of the last old school broadcast network hits. They routinely drew a 30+ share, meaning 30% more of the TV viewing audience tuned into this show. 30% of the TV viewing audience. That's huge.
Yeah, that's
we've
crazy.
talked about that before. And then the last thing I wanted to say, sort of in the background of the show or the history of the show, they talked about the Golden Girls 1988 Royal Variety performance. So this is when it was the Queen Mother who was a big fan of the show and asked them to come over. So they did like a stage performance of one of their like table scenes, like a cheesecake scene. I've heard about it, but like never really watched it. But he actually says like it's on YouTube. Go watch it. So I did, and this was sort of the impetus for me to watch it. It was fascinating. So it is just like a scene from Golden Girls that we've seen before, but they do it for stage. And all of these women were amazing stage actors, with the exception of Betty White, because she just did TV. That was her milieu, but everybody else was used to being on stage. They were brilliant, obviously. But too, at the very end, as they're rolling the credits, they show the Queen Mother meeting the Golden Girls, and that is mind-blowing.
Wow, yeah, totally.
That is mind-blowing.
Yeah, for sure.
So like all of that stuff at the beginning, that was sort of the behind the scenes of Golden Girls development and sort of where they were in the culture at that time. I loved all of that.
Right. And they're about the same age, I guess, huh? Or at least the Queen Mother and would have been the same as the three who not Rue, but the other three, because I think they were all 20s, born in the 20s.
Point. They don't look the same age, but she may be like weighted down by the gowns and the tiaras,
right, and the purses.
Estelle Getty didn't have her wig on, obviously, when she made. They had all changed into like very elaborate gowns, and Estelle Getty had her like normal hair color. She just looks so much younger.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
What kind of stuff did you like?
Well, so I was just thinking a couple more things, just real generally, which is like. So I don't know if this qualifies as a like, but like, how did anyone remember this level of detail so long after the series ended? This was really in the minutia.
He was there. So I keep coming back to the fact that he was doing interviews, because there would be quotes from Betty White or Rue McClanahan, and Betty would be like, I'm thinking about A Little Romance. She said, like, this actually turned out to be a really fun episode that I really think about a lot. And I'm thinking, like, how does Betty White at what would have been 80 some odd years old, remember being on set that week and meeting the actor who played Dr. Jonathan Newman, to an extent that she can talk about how it felt on set that week.
Right.
It
Exactly.
just blows my mind.
I know. I also thought, just like in general, like the things that I think it did really well, is it just the amount of organization around something, again, that's so dense. And then
he did what we haven't been able to do.
Right. I'm like, hell.
But he also worked on it for 10, 11, 12 years.
That's right. We're just doing this in between chores.
Jobs.
In between chores and jobs.
Calls from the school.
Literally. It also did a nice job of showing us, again, and you were like kind of teeing this up, who the ladies were on and off camera.
Right.
And introducing us to people that don't get a lot of fanfare, but certainly deserve it. Mm-hmm. So whether it is the costume designers or the set creators, or, it takes all of those people to make a show run. And often all you see are the main stars, right? So I think, and I do like that part of it. I had many different things that stuck with me. I'm happy to walk through them, or, however we want to go about this.
Go for it.
Okay. All right. Just thinking about in that off-screen things that were happening, I was really struck by learning about Betty and Bee's mom both being very ill at around the same time, and then passing around the same time. Mm-hmm. So first of all, 2 days before they taped Blanche and the Younger Man, Bee's mom died. And then just a few episodes later, ahead of heart attack, Betty's mom died. That latter one is incredibly emotional in terms of being an episode, at least up until the point. And I've not seen that one, but like you wind up learning, Sophia has like, she ate too much or something.
Right.
But like, these are women who are from the era of the show must go on. They shouldered through it. If producers did actually offer to cancel. But the tears and the emotion in those episodes, that's like real acting. Mm-hmm. So in fact, if you go back, you can actually see B. Arthur start to choke up in Blanche and the Younger Man when she is doing a scene between her and her mom, and Sophia's thanking her for not treating her like an old lady, telling her that she's a good daughter. Good Lord. And
Betty White talked about that a little bit in her book as well, about the time when she was losing her mom and how it just translates. She knows she's going through, again, like we talked about in the main episode this week, sort of a universal experience that people can relate to. And she sort of just applies it to her acting and builds on it, not exploits it, but builds on it or uses it as motivation, and almost as a way to honor her mom and like give her a little bit of a moment in the spotlight too.
Isn't it also special, I think, to think about another reason it makes sense to use more frequently or like write things more frequently for people who have a little life experience? Because, you know, one of the things I feel like I've learned from watching this show and that I'm just kind of putting together on my own is like they're so good because first of all, they've been doing this a while, and also because they've lived life. And all of those things I think make for a much deeper, layered, and beautiful performance.
And authentic. You watch it and you think, this isn't someone pretending to know how to grieve. This is someone who's really, like you said, in Ebb Tide, when Blanche loses Big Daddy, it's not Blanche living through the loss of her dad. It's Rue McClanahan applying experiences that she's had through life to this scene.
Totally. I can jump into the next one, or if you want. Okay.
Well, I was going to say,
please.
The other thing that I really loved, and I think you're getting into this, was some of the episode by episode breakdown, because like I just can't get enough of this, like behind the scenes. What were they living through as they were going? It's so hard for me to imagine someone's entire life, an entire career showing up and filming a weekly series. You show up on Monday not having any idea what you're doing that week, and by Friday you're recording it in front of a live studio audience.
Yes.
And 90% of the time on this show, when you read the episode by episode breakdowns, it feels very intentional and it feels very like we kind of knew where the story was going. But there's like this 10% of the time where even the writers showed up on Monday morning and they weren't entirely sure what they were doing with the characters that week.
Yeah. I think you saying that makes me think about there's like a game show episode, and they're like, so the set people
Is
were
it
like,
Grab That Dough?
Yes.
I love that episode.
And they were like, we showed up on Monday, and they were like, you've got to build a set.
A game show set.
Yeah. And they were like, okay, cool. And I was just thinking, I was like, man, there is such a, and you think about the millions of people that are watching this show. And like, I'm just like, I'm going to keep that in mind the next time. I'm like, someone at work is really stressing me out.
Yeah.
You know,
they're like, not only are you building a game show set, but it has to be this vacuum sealed chamber where money flies around. And B. Arthur, by the way, who is nervous in small spaces, is the person you're going to put in there.
Yes.
And she's also arguably, it sounds like, kind of the pricklier one of the four of them. So good luck.
Well, I really related with that part too, because they were like, B. Arthur wouldn't allow us to close the door, and I'm like, same, crazy pants, and I would be like, I don't think so.
It's
I
also
understood that.
not really in the book, but one of my favorite things to do, I think we established this on Designing Women, is I love to look for mistakes in shows. Like if you can see a boom mic, I find that very exciting. Or if there's a shadow of a person working on set, it is exceptional that so few of those happen on TV, given the amount of work and moving pieces that are happening.
Yeah, truly.
On a weekly basis for 7 years.
I'm glad that you said what you said about B, because that's my next thing that stuck with me is like a fair amount, my Torian sister, a fair amount of commentary indicated that Milady was like maybe a little challenging to work with. Like, and this did not like this came from directors,
Writers.
guest stars, writers. I'm like Betty White,
co-stars, Jim Colucci.
His story's so good. I don't want to ruin it. You have to go here,
Okay,
because you absolutely have to hear what he says about B. Arthur. And what I will say is, this is not ruining anything. This is exactly what we've learned through other things, and that you and I discussed when we talked about the reunion and the way that they handled that, whatever happened between her and Betty White, which is this idea like they were so different. And that's that B. Arthur presents like this iron lady but she is mush on the inside.
Mm-hmm.
And Betty White is balls of steel
Mm-hmm.
that presents like golden sunshine, Doris Day, beach blanket bingo. You know what I'm saying? Like and so I think those things often collided. And I think it seems to me that the takeaway on B. Arthur is she has wrapped herself in a lot of protection after being hurt a lot. You know, and so it was very hard for anyone to break through or get in.
Mm-hmm.
But once you did, if you were able to do that, and I think that, and I do think this is worth saying or talking about. Like we've talked a little bit about, and especially in the beginning when we were just sort of setting up these characters, Dorothy suffered no fools. Well, guess what? That is something that her and B. Arthur had in common. Mm-hmm. And one thing that he did say that Jim Colucci said that I think is worth saying here is like, when I try to do the aw shucks, like, oh, you're just the pet, she was not having it.
Had no part of that.
But when you got real, and he's got a great story about it, when you got real, she liked it.
Okay.
Because I think she was of the school of like, let's just say she probably drank warm whiskey. She's had a cigar or two. You know what I'm saying?
I get it.
Okay.
I get it.
So
I also drink warm whiskey, just so you know.
She's my little whiskey girl.
The way I like it warm. What else stuck with you? Aside from B. Arthur's drinking habits.
The Designing Women pieces.
Ah, okay.
So they saw the Designing Women and Golden Girl character comps like similar to the way we did. And I guess this isn't this is Jim Colucci. So like I'm pretty sure it's him that said this and not someone he was talking to. Like there's this, when we were talking about it, we're like, well, obviously Rose is Charlene, mm-hmm. and obviously Julia is Dorothy, and obviously, but when we got to Sophia and Mary Jo, we were like, and it's the same thing here. Oh, sorry, I'm just going to say it. Otherwise, there's the completionist in me. Blanche is Suzanne. Or Suzanne is Blanche. Well, however you feel there emotionally, okay. But Colucci, I liked his take, which was, I think what we did, or maybe not put this on you. I think I said Sophia's best comp is maybe Bernice.
Yes.
Because it's also outsider.
Yeah.
Colucci believes Anthony was the Sophia. Because it was like this providing of needed commentary from an outsider's perspective, though his point was in Anthony's case it's through race and gender rather than age, like Sophia. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
So you like that take? You're okay with it? Okay.
Yes.
Signed,
I'm okay with it.
Proved, delivered.
Sounds good.
We don't even have to deliver it, I guess. Yeah. And then I just want to say they also said that the show dogged on Designing Women a number of occasions. We talked about that back in our main episode earlier in the week or whenever it published. But I that's the only, and I saw that one because we also watched that episode. That's the one they mentioned in the book. Do you remember ever them kind of ragging on them?
I don't think so. I think that was the only, because I was on the lookout for it because I thought it would happen more than it did. But I think that's the only time.
Do you think Jim will come on here and tell us the other times?
I think so.
Okay, good.
If invited.
That would be, okay. The last thing that stuck with me, and I think this is like maybe an example again of, these are women that could use real life experiences to make a performance more beautiful. And I will say this about the book. I'm coming from it from a different perspective than you because I haven't seen all the episodes.
Oh, yeah.
So also I was like spoiling all the episodes. I think so part of me was like, what am I doing? I think that was like,
are you ever going to watch the whole series?
I would love to.
Oh. Okay.
I have literally told multiple people that are like, oh, I've been meaning to listen to the show. And I'm like, don't worry about our show. Sorry, Nikki. I'm like, just watch Golden Girls. I was like, just do it. Yeah. I have said it innumerable times, one of them. But so A Piece of Cake is one episode of many that I haven't seen. And there's a flashback. They talk about this in the book. There's a flashback of Rose. I think Betty White's recollection of what was happening in the episode and maybe what the episode description, they were slightly different, but she said that she was putting on baking a cake, putting a birthday party together for her deceased husband, Charles. And Betty White confirmed she was actually thinking about her husband, Alan, who had recently passed. And this was another time we're talking about genuine emotion and not acting. And Betty also confirmed this scene was the closest Betty to Betty that Rose ever came.
Yes.
I just thought that was really fascinating to hear that directly from Betty White.
She talks about that in her book as well, that this was sort of her tribute to Alan because it was right in the wheelhouse of, obviously it's Rose mourning. Did we watch A Piece of Cake?
Mm-mm.
Okay, I must have watched it on my own then because I've watched it recently and it is a really beautiful scene.
It seems like a beautiful episode.
Oh, you know what? I pulled a clip for social media for our Betty White to promote our Betty White segment because it is one of her most beautiful performances of the series. It literally is Betty talking to Alan, but using the word Charlie.
Okay. Yeah, I can. Well, now that you say that, I'm like, okay, well, now maybe I have seen that scene. I just didn't realize what I was looking at.
Probably. It's really beautiful. And I think that must be why I continue to think that these women were, again, translating their own stories of life experience and loss and love into these characters that they were playing.
Yeah.
Did you have other things that generally struck you, or are you ready to talk about things we wanted more of or less of?
So let's see here real quickly. Just in terms of a couple of other things that I liked.
Okay.
I liked that we were getting personal accounts of the ladies through their friends. And I had two standouts. And
Okay.
I like that because sometimes it's really hard for us to see ourselves.
Okay.
And sometimes I think...
It's what people say. I don't understand. I'm perfect.
No. If anything, what you do is you don't see how great you are. And I think that's true. And I think that's, in some ways that's really helpful as long as it's not too askew. Because we should all probably maintain some sense of humbleness, you know, but that said, like, also you just may not be able to see the full 360 like someone else can. So for instance, we get Billy Goldenberg on B. Arthur. This is a longtime friend of hers, and also he was the accompanist for her in her show. But I guess it wound up being their show, and it was like it started out as one thing, but then they actually took it on tour because it was so successful. I just I love this one anecdote, which was basically he'd been struggling to get a laugh line in the show, and finally he got it. And he got the reaction he was looking for. And as they walked off stage, B said, "Darling, you've just discovered the secret of comedy." And he said, "What's that?" And she said, "Waiting." And I love that because I thought it told us everything we needed to know about her genius. Like she knows. She knew, and her timing was amazing. And that's how they were able to get all those. They got fantastic reaction shots off of everyone. But someone, when I told them we were covering Golden Girls, they were like, "Oh, yeah, Dorothy, she's the first Jim."
Oh, yeah, with like the dead stare.
Yeah. And also, all of that, like she encapsulates that so well. That's something that she can do so well. And like the fact that she also is causing it of that, I think is amazing. Because I don't think people are always aware of why they're good performers. Yeah. I don't know that's always there. So I love that story.
There were a few spots throughout the book, and maybe I have one of these later, but several spots where the actors talk about how difficult it was to play certain scenes or additional like sort of layers of playing certain scenes because of the audience reaction. And you don't truly know, obviously, how a scene is going to go until you hear how the audience receives it. And the amount of vamping they had to do to sort of hold the line until people stopped laughing. Or there were some guest stars who talked about how sometimes their scene wasn't playing well. Like in the Mother's Day episode, there's the guest star who played B in a flashback said like it just was not playing well. And I thought this whole scene was going to go up in smoke. And I think that's fascinating to watch the show and think about how some of these scenes that like for me, I'm like, that's a classic Golden Girl scene. And it like could have completely fallen apart, or in the actor's mind, it did.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's why Betty White was so good at it, even though she didn't have that stage experience, because she had had so many years doing live television.
Which is a stage, right?
It is.
It's not in the same way as Broadway.
And you don't get the,
it
typically in the environment she grew up in, you don't get the immediate audience reaction. Like I told you that she did that live radio show for hours on end. There was no audience in there. She was just performing to this unseen. I think stage actors get that immediate feedback and they kind of can tailor their performance. And it's just incredible that she could be so likable even without having any idea what people thought.
Right. Interesting.
Side note. Sorry.
Oh, no. I was just thinking it just about, they're just also good.
It's such a skill and a talent.
Yes, I know. So I'm feeling also guilty. Harvey Fierstein, I don't know if it's Stein or Steen, but he's the one who wrote and starred in Torch Song Trilogy, and or who you might know from Mrs. Doubtfire if you're my age. So Harvey, that's what we know you from.
Oh, so he's the
when they dress
makeup artist. Okay,
he's one of the two.
I didn't know that's who that was.
I'm pretty sure he's also in Independence Day. So this is who Harvey was for me.
Look at him. I know that guy.
And you do.
I know that guy.
So I can get through the millennials. But anyways,
he has overdeveloped vestibular fold in his vocal cords, which essentially gives him a double voice when he speaks.
Okay, he does have a very unique sounding voice. So he talks about Estelle Getty in the book, and he had some really beautiful things to say about her. So I'm just going to I'm going to read this quote. "You can't believe everything Estelle said in that autobiography she wrote. The book presented what Estelle wanted to show the world, her public persona. But I would love to have read Estelle's real story. As I used to say to her, if the world had known where Estelle really came from and what magic had happened to her, they would have loved her 10 times more." I thought that was really beautiful.
So lovely.
Yes. And then he goes on to talk about how the HIV epidemic touched her life, and going on to say, quote, "We were fighting the war very early on because this was Estelle's family. These were her kids. She loved them, and seeing them die one by one just destroyed her." And I legitimately teared up where he said that. So, and when he said that, but also when he said, he had this whole thing about like, I didn't care about this or that or this about Golden Girls. I just wanted to see those 4 ladies. And honestly, I still flip it on this to this day just to spend time with Estelle. And and then my heart shattered into 12,000 pieces.
Oh, that's lovely.
It was very nice. I had a little tidbit about Susan Harris. I don't know if this part struck you or not. I guess, Bed of Roses, they did not want to air that episode.
Yes, I have that in Biggest Surprises.
Okay.
Yeah.
Talk to me about, it doesn't matter what order we go in. Just talk to me what surprised you about that.
Well, so they didn't want to air it because it talked about an orgasm.
Mm-hmm.
And in the writer's room, what I loved was when the network came back and said, we can't air this, the writers were like, you know what? Okay, let's sit down with the script and go line by line and talk about everything that offends you. And basically, as happens in these situations, and I have professionally run into circumstances like this where you're like, okay, I hear you. I understand you don't like this. Let's talk about what you don't like about it. And then people who 5 minutes ago had such a strong opinion cannot articulate why they don't like it. They just don't like it. Mm-hmm. And the writers just weren't standing for that. They were like, we're going to go line by line. So they go line by line, and there's this part where they talk about women's orgasm, and they say it's that part right there. We can't air something about a woman having an orgasm. And Susan Harris is sitting there in a total power move with sunglasses on. And it sounds like she had been pretty silent through this whole thing, but this is where she chose to say, so is it the network's official position that women can't have an orgasm, only men? And immediately they're like, no, that's not what we mean. That's not what we mean. But they obviously back down and they moved on with the show. They did. It sounds like they did tweak some things because there were some minor things they could tweak. But it sounds like she had a real power move there.
It's the sunglasses too.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. That really.
I like to picture her like tipping them, you know?
Oh, really?
Either that or she's like, or it's more like that kind where you're like a little hungover and you're like, not today, buddy. And they stay on the whole time. I don't know.
I was thinking of them as like a Diane Keaton sort of situation. They're like slightly frosted, not, you know,
yeah.
and circular. They're circular.
Love that. Yeah.
And she's just like silent this whole time, a total thinker.
She's also in a tie.
Yes.
Okay.
And a business suit for sure.
Of course.
And she just like such a power move.
Okay. Well, speaking of power moves, that was another one. That was another thing that I really liked, which was in so David Steinberg comes in, who also directed some for Designing Women, I believe. And he directs Big Daddy's Little Lady. And one of his main memories is that B. Arthur nailed absolutely everything despite not taking one note from him.
Oh, yeah.
I picked up on some residual tension. But also, like, she didn't need your notes, David. She's good. You said she nailed everything, so I think it was fine.
I find that so fascinating. I just, in general, when they're making movies or TV, just that tension between a director and an actor, and then, of course, a writer and an actor. I just find that fascinating because obviously they're all needed to make a performance sort of happen and really resonate with you.
Yes.
But the stepping on the toes of it all, like, yeah, B. Arthur is like, what, in her 60s? And she's like, I've been doing this my whole life.
Right.
I got this.
Exactly.
It's fascinating.
So before we get to, because I am almost at the point where I want to talk about what we wanted more or less of, and you're like, good, me too.
Well, I'm just
Less
trying to
of
make
you,
sure
Salina.
I don't give away all my stuff.
Well, so my question for you is, would you prefer to talk about ice cream now, or do you want to talk about ice cream later?
I mean, I always want to talk about ice cream now.
Okay. So something that stood out to me, and I just didn't really know where to put it, but I was like, I like ice cream, so I'm going to put it in the likes section.
Okay.
Is that there's this whole anecdote in there when they're kind of capturing like all of the different ways that the Golden Girls live on, legacy, if you will. The big gay ice cream shops have Golden Girls themed ice cream. And they definitely have at least one flavor still because I investigated.
Oh, sure.
Also, I own a franchise. And I realize now that I've actually seen this one in stores. I just didn't. I feel stupid now that I didn't realize that Dorothy was Dorothy. In my defense, it has their logo on it, which is a unicorn. And so I didn't really put one and one together. But it was called the B. Arthur, I think. Now it's called the Dorothy, but this is a golden yellow cone filled with golden vanilla ice cream, drizzled with brownish gold dulce de leche, and topped with golden vanilla wafer crumbs. They also talked about ones that I could not substantiate still exist, but the Rue McClanahan was inspired by something they felt she might serve to Big Daddy, which was praline pecan cookies and bourbon ice cream. Okay. And then there was also talk at the time, at least when the book was published, they were going to come out with an ice cream filled cannoli in honor of Sophia. They didn't have anything for Betty White at the time because their policy was to only name things after someone who had already passed, and Betty White was still with us in 2016. That's
okay.
Right. So I just wanted to say, Nikki, not to put you on the spot.
I'm on the spot.
What flavor might you choose for our gals as an ice cream flavor?
Oh, gosh.
And if you want some time to think, I'll go ahead and tell you what mine are.
Okay.
Or I can vamp some other way because I don't want to.
You tell me what yours are.
So I thought that the obvious missing component here was just turning cheesecake into ice cream. Mm-hmm. And then you would just do a different, unique mix-in for each gal.
Okay.
Okay. So Rose, I think, would be a classic strawberry swirl.
Okay.
I would also sub in something St. Olaf themed. The thing is, I don't know enough of the St. Olaf stories to have a food right there. You know what I'm saying? But I keep thinking Danish blue cheese. I don't know why.
Oh,
okay?
Oh God.
Which doesn't make any sense for Vikings, but
herring. Herring fish.
First of all,
Always herring.
I love it. But you know what you could do? Swedish fish.
You could. That's
that
true.
could be,
that would be cute.
mm-hmm.
That'd be really cute.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking like my mind went strawberry shortcake because she's so like
Yes.
all American,
Yes.
or like apple pie.
Yes, I love that.
Yeah.
So then, maybe we'll do it one by one if you have something ready. Because
Okay.
like, I mean, how dare I come here, come into your home and not give you a heads up about ice cream. Okay. Ice cream. For the lady we love, for always being a bit too much, Blanche's would have it would have decadent swirls of chocolate ganache, chunks of dark chocolate, and then also chocolate shavings. Like a death by chocolate for her, I think. You know? This would be, again, in a cheesecake base.
Yeah. I think she needs something. Well, Southern maybe. I was going to say something extra. I'm thinking about her red dress, Satan's secretary, like some sort of cherry.
Oh my God, I was just thinking it.
Yeah.
You know, because it's really awesome song from the 80s, and I am being a little sarcastic.
She's my cherry pie.
My cherry pie. I mean, can't you just see her?
It needs something like that. I love the death by chocolate. Yeah, I think my mind was going straight to that red funeral dress.
You get like Blanche has a lot of flavors.
Yes.
I love that.
She could be so many things.
For Sophia, I had salted caramel cheesecake because face it, you know she was packing some Werther's Originals in that wicker purse at some point in time.
I thought you were going to say she was salty.
Hold on.
Okay, sorry.
But she's saltier than the Morton's girl.
There you go.
So
there you go. Salted caramel. I like that. I was thinking it would be fun to do something that honors like her Italian heritage, like a limoncello maybe, or like
sour.
Yeah.
I like that.
Something like that would be kind of fun.
Pistachio is always good. The thing is, Sicilian's like a little different.
Yeah.
You know? So
I
actually did at one point have something Sicilian down, but I can't remember what it was.
She's always making like lasagna and like pasta dishes. And you are the one that of the two of us that will try like things that are not traditional ice cream. So I feel like, I feel like you will have a suggestion for how to translate like a marinara or a pasta into an ice cream. Like, what is the seasoning that you could use? Like a basil, something like that.
They put thyme in ice cream for sure.
Yeah.
But like, first of all, I would straight up try a marinara ice cream. So like
what would
a meatball sub.
Oh God, I love a meatball sub.
Well, okay, but tomatoes like easy, I think, because tomatoes are actually fruit and they're actually sweet. So you could do like a sweet. I think basil's a good suggestion. Basil pairs really nice with the tomato. And then you could bring in like a ricotta.
Oh, yeah.
You know, or like one of those kinds of cheeses.
Yeah.
And I think you could play around in that area.
So we can't open an ice cream shop is what I'm taking away from this, because I would then want to have two versions for everything. I would want to have a traditionalist version and for the experimenter.
I mean, you just came up with a concept, you know?
Yeah.
So I think
it's too much.
I think you're honest.
Too many options.
There's never too much when it comes to ice cream.
Ice cream.
And then for our last gal, it's just a classic New York cheesecake. No mix-in, no frills, just like Dorothy.
Ah, okay. Okay.
I actually didn't think that the Dorothy sounded anything like Dorothy.
Yeah, not really.
So the way it originated is actually someone said you should just call that the Golden Girls.
Yeah.
And then they decided to call it
Then they called it the Dorothy.
The B. Arthur and then the Dorothy. But to me, I think those like vanilla things, that to me sounds like Rose.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's right.
Because I think your other person that's going to be into like thyme and ice cream is going to be Dorothy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I like the no thrills. No thrills,
no frills.
The no frills approach.
Yeah.
We know about her sex life. It's wild. It's wild.
It's
the Jonathan Hoover or something. But yeah, like I think I could see her too, because that's the two sides of Dorothy. The one is the no frills, but the other one's all thrills.
Yeah, that's true.
And so she's definitely eating something weird in her ice cream.
That's interesting. Now, I'm hard pressed to think of any episodes where we learn much about what Dorothy loves to eat. We had Stan gets a wife. Stan
Chinese.
takes a wife. Chinese, of course. Of course.
And she does compliment her mom's cooking all the time.
A lot, yeah.
And Sophia definitely has cooked things to talk her into things, and it's Italian.
Yeah.
So no wonder Stan's confused.
Yeah, it's true. Poor guy. Poor guy.
It's hard. Anyways, I spent a substantial amount of time on this ice cream.
I'm glad you did. I'm glad you did. And I really feel like maybe we should have held some of that back, because some of these ice cream shops might be coming for our ideas, Salina.
They can't have it.
Can't have it. That's ours.
But it's like something like you'd have the plain Jane would be like on one side, and it's just scoops of vanilla. I'll have you know that my friend Sarah would be a first customer. She loves vanilla.
I'm such a traditionalist with ice cream, and I think it's because I don't eat ice cream all that often. I got the sensitive tummy. So if I'm going to have ice cream, I want it to be ice creamy ice cream, and I'm afraid that if I eat something that's like a little adventurous and I don't like it, then I've just wasted ice cream. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
I'll still eat it because I finished the drill. That's the kind of gal I am.
Yeah.
But I would be a little disappointed.
Yeah. I want every flavor under the sun, like except for vanilla. Unless like vanilla gets interesting. So sometimes.
Like vanilla bean.
Just think about it. Even when you had to add on bean, it's not that interesting, you know? But it is the most interesting of the vanilla. Tahitian vanilla.
Ooh.
French vanilla.
Oh.
And then there's like
I like Tahitian vanilla.
oat milk. Was it oat milk? Anyways, there's my favorite soft serve place. They're doing some kind of like oaty version, which I like because it was like a little bit earthier.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, vanilla has its place. So I'm not
100%.
hating. I'm not hating. I'm appreciating.
It's a classic for a reason.
That's right. So you can put it side by side with something else with flavor.
So mean. So mean.
So
where are you going to take us next, Salina?
Something you want more or less of. Me.
That's not true. There's just no way that you'll ever give me enough behind the scenes lore. I will never get tired of it. That's what I wanted more from the ABC special, and where that sort of left off, this delivered. So did I tell you my theory that this was the basis for the ABC special?
You did, and I think you're spot on.
I think that they took the main themes of this book and translated them for TV, and I think they left out, because like we talked about when we recorded our episode about it, it was meant to be shiny. It was meant to be celebratory. They left out some of the parts that read a little prickly or maybe not so shiny. But you never can give me enough of that, which is why I just like straight up ate this book up. We talked about how for the read-throughs on Thursdays, they usually didn't put the tape in. And that just explains why we don't get more of that sort of like in the sauce sort of footage, like in production.
I really wish they had
footage.
thought that through.
I wish they had like come through for
Is that
us.
a money thing?
I don't know. I truly don't know. They definitely didn't share that in here. But
I mean, that's expensive, I think.
Probably.
Or like, could it have been for Estelle Getty, since she was like had such extreme stage fright? They're like, there's not even tape.
Right. Maybe.
Or it could have just been standard practice. I don't know.
I think that may be more it, which is shocking to me, because like, aren't they like athletes? Don't they want to rewatch their footage? Don't they want to see how it's translating on camera? I don't understand. Yeah. But that's the sort of stuff that this book shares.
Take pictures, y'all.
And the other thing that's great about this book is there are some of those like on the set pictures of them like creating episodes. I ate it up. I love it. I had jotted down a few things that as I was reading surprised me or required me to look up a little bit more. And I think that's more of the in the weeds stuff that I pulled from, but just big picture, all of that sort of behind the scenes stuff I loved.
Okay, well, mine's more negative, so I apologize for that. But I think this is
brand.
This is exactly like what you said is a good tee up to something that I was thinking this entire time. For this book is for the super fans. I'm not at the point of super fan. I don't even have the right to claim super fan. You know, I hope to get there one day, but you know, I gotta have watched more than 20 episodes to have claimed super fan. You know what I'm saying? So I gotta have a little reverence, have a little respect. Salina.
I don't actually know the Golden Girls fandom. I don't operate in that fandom. We got a sense for the Designing Women fandom through all of our coverage of it. And I think, yeah, you want to be well prepared before you venture into there.
So listener Adam was like, y'all need to share your content on Facebook in the fan groups because I think they would love you. And I think they would love your takes. By the way, that was a very kind thing to say. Yeah, absolutely. I chickened out.
I'm scared.
So I didn't mind doing it in the Designing Women. We were going to be there for so long.
Yeah.
Here it just feels like promotion.
Yeah.
So another thing I'll say is, you know, at the end of our episodes, we say, hey, y'all, here's how you could, you could also share our content to fan groups if you feel comfortable doing that. I mean, because that's one way for us to like kind of connect into those. It's a little bit more authentic versus us doing it ourselves, but maybe you haven't thought of that. And so I'm just going to drop a little hint. Yeah, I love it when people drop hints for me because sometimes I got a lot on my plate. We know you have a lot on your plate.
I mean, I'll say it straight out. It's a better look for you to share that you loved an episode of our podcast than for us to jump into a group we've never engaged with.
That's right.
And be like, hey, we talked about this. The thing we loved about engaging with the Designing Women fan universe is that because we were spending so much time there, they were bringing things to our attention or they were giving us things to talk about. And we just don't have that sort of production schedule.
No, and it took us a year to get in with them.
Yeah.
Because they're also like, they don't trust. And it's probably because other shows were making fun of them. I don't know.
Oh, maybe.
Of the show. I don't know. But there seemed to be some level of sensitivity there.
Or some people were just coming in just for like the fame and the fortune and trying to just ride the coattails of Designing Women straight into the bank.
That's what I'm always doing.
Yeah.
But so outside of the super fan thing, and because I'm coming to this book from a different perspective, I had really mixed feelings about the episode by episode breakdown. So, that could be because I was supposed to read it by a given date. So if you're going like at a leisurely pace and it's also not like spoiler alert after spoiler alert for you, then I think, because like me, I kind of want to see some of those episodes real time versus like, even though like that doesn't normally bother me, but the amalgamation of this all together is like, I don't know.
It's also written in such a way that you almost have to know it to know it. Do you know what I mean? Like you have to have seen it to get the context for why he cherry picked certain quotes from people or why he focused on this vignette versus this one.
Or I trust you. Because I mean, I do think you do need to have some foundations about this. This is not for the person off the street. So
as I said, and would I recommend it to someone? Absolutely. To a casual fan, I'd suggest skipping episode by episode breakdown. Definitely read the intro part. Definitely read some of the stuff at the end in terms of the wardrobe, the set, all of those things. I think I said this to you as well. Like, skip the episode by episode because this is not going to mean much to you. And I'll be honest, like I read it all, but I really paid attention to the episodes that we had talked about because I wanted to be sure we weren't missing anything on those.
Oh,
but
smart.
I didn't spend a lot of time on random episodes we didn't watch.
Yeah.
When I watch it again, I'll go back and reread it.
Right.
Because I just want to know now.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm definitely glad to have it, and I'll be glad to like look back at it as I'm able to watch more of the show. On the more and less, I found the legacy section to be a little unwieldy.
Oh.
So for me, it was almost like, and then it made me think about the way that I podcast. So I'll be checking myself on this, but like, I would have liked it if it was more like, hey guys, I looked around and these are my favorite things I found in the environment. This felt like it's 2016, y'all. And this is every time the Golden Girls has been mentioned this year. And because some of the examples were like really cool and some of them I was like, okay.
Been mentioned this year or ever since 1985. That was the other part. So in the ABC special, that was my least favorite part of the special.
I agree.
It's easy to make the point that it's got a legacy. It has taken on a life of its own, and it's inspired podcasters, writers, TV producers. That's an easy point to make. We don't need 20 minutes on that. So actually, Sorry, Jim. I skimmed that part of the book.
20 pages.
I felt like I had already seen it on the ABC special.
Right. But yeah, it was.
And a lot of it's dated because it's 2016.
Right.
We are almost a decade on from that. So the ice cream shop has already moved on from some of the flavors, maybe, probably.
Right.
They did talk about the podcast, but like some of the stuff like Etsy stuff.
Right.
I don't even think they're making those things anymore.
Yeah. So, I mean, the recommendation thing. Yes, I would recommend this to any fan, but yeah, especially like a diehard fan. I think if you're a diehard fan, I think you were saying what a great gift this would be. If you have a Golden Girls person and fan in your life, absolutely. If you know they don't have this book, they need it.
Yeah, absolutely.
They don't just want it; they need it.
It's beautiful. I can't stop saying that. It would make a really beautiful gift.
Mm-hmm. It is very pretty, and I really, really like the cover art a lot. We had a little tidbit here. Just wanted to check in. How did it make you feel? Is there anything you feel like we haven't covered in that regard?
Like we're on the right track with our podcast arc. So you mentioned this sort of at the top. They noted the Golden Girls as the thematic ancestor to designing women living single and Sex in the City.
Oh,
so
funny.
We're all sort of like identifying common threads and sort of headed the right direction.
Yeah.
I like that.
Oh, that's
validation.
Nice.
It was also just reading. It was like great reading something so in depth, reading someone's like obvious love and appreciation. This wasn't an assignment for Jim. This was a passion project.
Yes.
And as a fellow fan, also would not call myself an Uber fan. I don't feel like I've earned that title. There are people in those Facebook groups, because I've been in them, that you can mention a quote and they know exactly what episode you're talking about. I'm not that good.
Yeah.
I've watched King of Queens probably all the way through 10 times. I still can't do that. So I maybe will never be an Uber fan of something, but it's just really cool to watch someone who clearly this means something to them and they created something.
Yeah, I think for me, in terms of feelings, it's like a little bit like watching the show.
Yeah.
There are these
Well, just because we talked about every single episode.
Right. There's like love, loss, there's cheesecake, there's like a lot of comedic relief in there. The book made me laugh a lot. And if I had watched this longer, I think like I could definitely be riding a nostalgia wave reading this. Mm-hmm. And in some ways I do, because like it's like, this aired when we were small kids, but like, and you feel some of that, but like the nostalgia bit of being able to watch an episode at a given time in your life, and then like, so if you were to come back here and read about that again, and it kind of takes you back to that moment in your life, I think this book has the ability to do that.
While you were saying that, I realized it's missing some episodes. Did you notice that? Or is my book missing pages?
No. Okay, so I think it's not truly an episode by episode breakdown.
Okay,
he's picked the ones, I guess, where he was able to get the best information.
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
I think that's strategic in whatever because it's not however many episodes the show is.
That's fascinating to me. So I did notice in
ton.
season 1 there were some missing.
Mm-hmm.
It's fascinating to me that there were some that he did include, because I was like, oh, this feels a little bit like a nothing burger.
Yeah, and who knows? It could be like, I don't know, what's interesting to one person.
Yeah,
or like
we've run into that a time or two on this podcast
with each other.
I did not say that. I did not say that,
and yet,
but
still,
you know
it's true.
You did. I see.
But that's how we get the soup to nuts.
It's true.
Okay. Biggest surprises. I know I accidentally started sharing a couple of yours, but what else do you
No, that's cool. I've got just like a list. Okay. So I don't know that this is a huge surprise for us at this point, but I feel like it's worth saying this. We've mentioned it bits and pieces, but let's not forget Mitchell Hurwitz of Arrested Development, Mark Cherry of Desperate Housewives, Christopher Lloyd of Modern Family and Frasier all wrote for the Golden Girls at one point in time or another. We've mentioned that in bits and pieces, but that cannot be understated. Those are huge sitcoms. of the turn of the century.
Right. And just to think, like, and they cut their teeth on
That's where they started.
this show. Yeah.
This show that, like, we laugh, and maybe that's why we laugh so hard at it, because that's the humor we're used to. I don't know. But, like, that came up a few times throughout the book, and I just over and over again am surprised.
Yeah. That's very fair.
I wanted to mention, and I mentioned this to you off mic, one of the things that I really like am kicking myself over is that as I was putting together our episode outlines for the year is that I didn't leave more, or for the season, is that I didn't leave more space for guest stars. And there are like a lot throughout the run of the show. And I, for our next episode, I'm going to do a rapid fire reading of some of the big ones because I just feel so silly not summing it up in one neat bow.
So don't worry, y'all. It's coming.
It's coming. But it's not the same as doing it justice with putting their appearance in the context of the episode in which they appeared.
Oh.
But it's something.
Okay, well, you didn't write the book.
I know. More specifically, though, I'm thinking less of guest stars and more of like, hey, I know that person from somewhere. How did they end up here? Because we did that a lot more in our Designing Women coverage.
Sure did, yeah.
So I was surprised to learn that Bonnie Barrett, who played Dorothy's anti-Semitic friend Barbara in that episode we talked about, in Dorothy's New Friend, that episode, she's Mr. Feeney's wife in real life.
Oh, in real life.
In real life, Mr. Feeney from Boy Meets World. They're married.
And wasn't she on that show for a little bit or something?
Yes,
Okay.
I think so.
All right, yeah. And I mean, she definitely looked familiar to me when I saw that episode, but I did not have the time to slow down and look like we did in the episode by episode coverage.
Jeffrey Tambor, who we mentioned, was one of the doctors in Sick and Tired. He met Mitch Hurwitz while they were filming this episode. And again, Mitch would end up being the creator of Arrested Development.
Thank you.
Which Jeffrey
I don't know
Tambor
if you
is.
saw the
I saw the
blanks
face.
there, I'm like,
So
yeah.
Jeffrey Tambor ends up playing like the patriarch of the family in Arrested Development. And then
Also, everyone should watch Transparent because that's a beautiful show with him.
Oh, yeah.
So good.
That one got a little bit muddied because it was coming out about the time that Arrested Development did their like
Oh, boot. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess that's what you could call it. One, that was
Extension.
terrible. But two, allegations about how terrible Jeffrey Tambor got in there. So that got muddied for me. So I never watched it.
Yeah. Beautiful show.
Oh, good.
Truly.
Good.
It's a hard watch,
Oh, I'm sure.
but it's good.
I mean, I won't be watching it, but I
Support.
love that.
You support it.
I support it. And
Okay.
I love that suggestion for others. And then a slight detour because this is more in the vein of true guest stars. But I was surprised to read that Debbie Reynolds was loosely considered to backfill B. You might not have gotten to this part, but she had an appearance in season 7, the two-parter called There Goes the Bride. And they, at this point, knew B was on her way out. And so Debbie Reynolds was sort of lightly considered as the B replacement if they were to continue on with the show.
Oh, very interesting.
I don't think I even knew that.
I didn't make it that far.
There you go. See, I've surprised you today.
Thank you.
You want to share a couple? I have more.
Sure. So the famous scene in the operation where Rue and Betty do that cute tap dance number.
Oh, yeah.
You could have knocked me over with a feather that they put tap shoes on for the first time on Monday. What?
That is one of the things I have written down too. And I will say once you've heard that and rewatched that scene,
Then you see
it makes a little more sense.
Okay. Yeah.
A little bit. But I mean, still, that's to take nothing away from either one of them. They look
I just assumed.
amazing.
Yeah, I just assumed that. I don't know. Like
They look like they know what they're doing.
because I just imagined, and Rue is a dancer, so and she like said as much. So I thought like one of the very first things they had me do. Oh no, sorry, I did ballet and tap. Don't worry, it was only like 4 days. But I can grapevine with the best of them.
Excellent.
Okay?
That comes in handy at weddings.
It's so good, right? So that's why I'm the belle of the ball.
Oh, and in your Peloton aerobic workouts. There's a lot of grapevine.
I grapevine. I'm like, oh yeah, I know this one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Come on, Donna Summer. It's me and you. But anyway, so between her being a dancer and plus all the stage work and then just how long Betty had been in show business to that point, I don't know. I just assumed they were tap dancing all over the place. So yeah, I'll have to go back and look because maybe I would, because like, you can fake it kind of. if you're
They're not, it's definitely not faking it. It's just more not as oiled as you would expect it to be. Like there's a part where Betty at the very beginning of the episode said that the sequence that got Dorothy injured, she's like, it goes a little something like this, and she does it, and it's just not as smooth as you would think it would be.
I see.
But it definitely, like, I've seen that scene. That's one of my favorite scenes in Golden Girls, of the two of them doing the routine without Dorothy. And I've seen that at least a dozen times, if not 24 times. And I never would have guessed they didn't know what they were doing 4 days before that.
I mean, it does actually seem like, since they're supposed to be amateurs.
Yes,
I mean,
right.
I guess that makes sense. It's kind of like how you're talking about before about like someone who's singing and then they try not to sing well. And
fair point. Yeah, fair point. That makes sense.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Another big surprise for me was that Estelle Getty had a bit of a beef with Nancy Walker, who played her sister, Sophia's sister, Angela, in the show.
Okay.
So
I don't remember this.
So like, it was like a one-sided beef.
Perfect. I'm good with those.
It's the same. It's a real.
Those are my favorites.
Real woman beef, you know. Prior to the success of Golden Girls, Estelle was Nancy's stand-in for these like popular Bounty paper towel commercials. Okay.
Okay.
And she said like Nancy wasn't overly friendly to her, which but reading between the lines I read is like she came off as too good. You know what I'm saying?
She was the talent.
You're not really the Bounty girl, you know? Anyway, so she had told a friend that she was excited for her to join the show because she was going to tell her something. You know, but then she got there and she told her nothing.
Yeah.
And I think it's too, though, reading between the lines of that, like she got there and she was like, I'm on one of the most popular shows in the world.
You
so
can be the Bounty girl.
Like it can be okay now, you know, but I just thought that was
that's
really
on
interesting.
Growth.
Yeah. But maybe when she was talking all that smack, it was like from her Bounty paper towel commercial days.
Yes.
You know?
I think that's right.
So what you got?
I don't really know what to make of this one. It just was interesting because I feel like we talked earlier this season. What?
I just looked down at my notes and it says, I don't know what to make of this, but.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's so weird.
So funny.
Rose the Prude, which is an episode we didn't watch. But that is one they mentioned that Betty specifically chose to submit as her Emmy nomination.
Okay.
I think I was surprised that they just choose their episode for an Emmy nomination. They put their episode forward, and so there was another spot later, maybe where it was B had a performance that she wanted to be her Emmy nomination, and she was a little bit frustrated that other people weren't performing at the level that she wanted it to be. So again, I don't know why that's relevant, but it's that like behind the scenes sort of how did the Emmys come about? I guess
we have talked a lot about that.
We talked about it a lot. I guess I just thought the Emmys came to you and they were like, this was an excellent performance this season. I don't think I realized they were putting these episodes forward. And so there was one episode we watched where we were like, that's the one they chose for the Emmys.
Mm-hmm. Yep, for sure.
So I don't know. It's just interesting then that the actor would have chosen it.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what? I think reading through something like that hit me and not realizing that they had that kind of, I don't know if it's like autonomy or involvement or whatever, but yeah. Or it kind of like just takes off a little bit of the shine.
Right. It feels less authentic. It's less this group of esteemed industry people saying this was a stellar performance. And it's more like, oh, this was just a really popular show this year. And so, of course, Betty White's going to put something forward.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, screw it. Let's turn it off.
Turn it off. I think I mentioned A Little Romance is one that Betty stuck with her the most of all of the episodes that they did for Golden Girls, which I find very funny.
Yeah.
And not because she's like, it's the one about the little person. It's because she said just like the way the show played, the performance of the guest star, like the whole package was what stuck with her, not that it was kind of silly.
Right.
And then I'll mention one more and then let you share some. Sean Sheps, who was Rebecca, Blanche's daughter, she shared this really heart-wrenching story about verbal abuse in real life.
I got that far.
Okay, good. That's on page 146 if anybody wants to look. But she said it really mirrored Rebecca's storyline. And again, it's a common thread that life imitates art or whatever.
Right.
What a sad one.
Yeah.
What a sad one.
Or also like but also like how kind of fortunate in the unfortunate part that if she had not played that role, would she have been able to see herself? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So because she did, she was able to be like, I got to get out of this relationship.
Absolutely. That's true.
So I think that part was really interesting, and it sort of goes again to what have been talking about is like, I can see you, but I know that you can't always see you the same way that I see you. You know what I'm saying? But that's the goal.
Yeah.
You know? My next one was, so Lucille Ball gets brought up, and she is supposed to star as Rose's sister, or guest star as her sister. I just want to say I hate that didn't happen.
Yeah.
They have a whole reason why it didn't happen. I don't think that really matters as much. Later in the second season, she came to a taping. Apparently, she's like laughing her head off in the audience. And I just want to say, like, can you imagine like how good it would make you feel to make Lucille Ball laugh?
Oh my gosh.
Again, I don't want to say too much from the Jim Colucci thing that I listened to, but like he had a little anecdote about that because part of what they've been talking about is like, how were you able to track this back or that back or whatever? He said this was actually really hard to substantiate, like which episode it was. Like people remember her being there, but they're like, I don't remember which one it was. But they like one of the things they had said is that the laughter was weird that night.
Oh.
And it's because like everyone was waiting for Lucille Ball to laugh.
They all want to make sure she thinks it's funny, the queen of comedy.
Is
and
that
then we can all laugh.
Not amazing?
That's incredible.
And then I think part of the thing that caught my attention as I was reading is, so that night she's there, there's an executive producer who's quoted in here, Mort Nathan, and it's like, he said something along the lines of like that night while they're taping and everything, he has this passing thought like, why didn't we ask Lucille Lucy if she wanted to be involved? Like, why didn't that come to our like heads, you know?
Because who wants to ask Lucille Ball to do work when she's enjoying herself?
Well, and I thought this was, but she actually had a short-lived comedy the next year. But she says, or he had this to say, who knows what might have been or if it would have worked at all, but I guess it just wasn't meant to be. Lucy had her place in TV history and our ladies had theirs.
Oh, that's nice.
So that was really nice.
It's a lovely way of putting that.
We've wound up chatting about George Clooney it being on the show at least once, if not more times. But there was an interesting tidbit when they covered the episode that he was in. And basically it was like how he'd been kicking around sitcoms and stuff and couldn't really like get a job. Like, so his agent calls up and says, you know, George, right? Would you guys consider putting George Clooney in an episode so he can maintain his medical insurance? It's incredible.
There was like this thing that floated around where they were always like, well, there's always George Clooney. If they needed an extra or a character, there's always George Clooney.
He's around. Amazing.
We talked on and off throughout our Designing Women coverage about who LBT identified with the most and in terms of the characters. But because she keeps such a low personal profile, like there's not a lot. We can make really good educated guesses, but like there's just not as much out there for us to substantiate it. This book actually spelled it out with respect to Susan Harris and the Golden Girls, at least in the episode Sick and Tired. She said in like some comments around that episode, she identified most with the way Dorothy spoke and sees herself more in that, in the way that Dorothy presents herself and speaks.
Yeah, I'd say you could at least get that with the comments that she made behind the sunglasses.
Yes.
Seem very of the Dorothy ilk.
Very ilk.
The ladies might have 7 to 10 costume changes per show.
Yes.
Too many.
Is it? Or is it not enough?
Would you enjoy that?
I saw a couple of, in sort of bouncing episode to episode because of the way we're covering it, I think I was able to clock rewears a little bit more. There are definitely some rewears. I didn't catch it so much in the Designing Women episodes. I think because we were separated by so much time when we watched episodes.
The Julia belt?
The Julia belt's different. That was an episode by episode repeat. I'm going to give you some credit. We caught a lot of repeats. Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
When you say we, I think that's being generous. I think you caught a lot of repeats. But in Golden Girls,
we do everything together.
It's everything. My mind clocked them a lot more, certain colors or certain designs or whatever. But yeah, I told you in the Rue McClanahan extra sugar that she had a clause in her contract that she got to keep all this stuff.
Yes, I'm filing that away in case
if
that
you
ever
ever
comes
need
to pass. Yes, for whatever the situation might be.
Which makes perfect sense because their costumes, again, going back to the costuming section of this book, was so specifically designed to the character, of course, but also the actor preference. B. Arthur did not like body hugging things. She wanted flowy and light. Rue McClanahan embraced more like feminine stuff. And then Betty is just like, she's American Pie.
Yeah. Yeah. I like Dorothy's, the way she dresses.
I am liking it a whole lot more now that I'm getting older and I'm watching these episodes and I'm like, I could get on board with some breezy linen pants.
It is very Diane Keaton to me too.
I also, this is not shocking, but it just was funny. The accurate conception inspired a line the writers would come back to on and off when they're putting when they were putting the girls into wild scenarios. It's the part where Sophia says, "Oh boy, we're going to a sperm bank." So anytime they were writing and they were thinking about putting the girls somewhere silly, they would say, "Oh boy, we're going to the sperm bank." I loved that. I thought that was funny.
That's fun.
And then I think I alluded to this earlier, but I wanted to mention that it turns out Mother's Day was a terrible filming experience for just everyone involved. And there were several episodes that seemed to be pretty terrible filming experiences. But this one in particular was the actor who played Dorothy, who I thought was great. I think we've already talked about this episode, right? I think so. Anyway, I thought she was brilliant, but she said she was convinced they'd never be able to salvage that vignette for the final show, which I found so surprising.
I want to go back and look at that performance after having read that as well.
It's good. She has B. Arthur's body language down immaculately.
Yeah, and she speaking of doing the tape, I think that's kind of the way she describes it.
Yeah,
or like watching the tape back.
Yeah,
doing the tape. I'm a big sports gal. So Sophia almost got her own Saturday morning cartoon.
Yes.
The animated everyday adventures of Sophia Petrillo and the Golden Gang. It's a long title. I'm just saying if they would have gotten some in there, I would have watched it.
I thought you were just saying that 80s and early 90s were a weird time for cartoons.
That too. But, it didn't come to fruition. So there's that, which it took me like 2 to 3 runs to realize that was the case because I was on the way to look it up.
Okay.
I like the premise though. Like, what does she do when all the other women are at work?
It's like the days and nights of Sophia Petrillo,
and like a teddy bear.
That too,
or the Secret Life of Pets. Do you know what I'm saying? Though it's funny that
like Toy Story.
Yeah, they turned her into Toy Story and pets. It's kind of interesting. Okay, this is I don't know what to make of this, but anecdote.
Okay.
I
had a couple of those.
Well, this one took me down a rabbit hole.
I love a rabbit hole.
Okay, great. You're going to love this.
I'm going to end up on it with you.
I'm imagining that this stuck with you. Okay, in 2013, Christie's, this is the auction house, got $1.9 million for the 1991 John Kieran painting titled "B. Arthur Naked."
Oh, you know what? Yes, because it made me think of Julia the Nude from Designing Women. I didn't go down the rabbit hole, but that's exactly what I thought of.
Okay. Well, I guess my first thought was, I was like, B. Arthur did a nude? And then I guess the old PETA campaign is in my head where they all went naked.
Oh,
do you know what I'm talking about?
Okay.
And I was like, I wonder if it's like an animal rights thing.
Okay.
Because I could see her doing it for that. Nope.
It's just art. Just love of the game.
Yeah, she just love of the toplessness. Okay. She never sat for it. The artist painted a picture of her topless from a clothes photo. So
that is so creepy.
So it was very controversial at the time. And there were a lot of critics who came out and they were talking about how he was a misogynist and the painting was sexist. And then I'm reading these articles and then you kind of get the other side of it, like the artsy side. And so Koji Inoue was quoted in an article saying, "It's historically significant. It's radical to sexualize someone people think of as asexual. The painting has a visual toughness to it, but it's also fun." So my response was, oh, okay, well, how about we paint your tiny penis and then we'll all poke fun at it? Does that sound fun?
Nothing about that seems reasonable.
I mean,
first of all, he's presuming that most people think B. Arthur is asexual, which is not true.
That's so strange to me. I was like, I wish you could have seen my face while I was like researching all of this, because I was so angry. But like, there were people who argued that it was a feminist statement about confidence and age. Here's my response to that. If B. Arthur had sat for it.
Yes.
And, or, you know, had any say in someone imagining her naked breasts before they painted him, absolutely.
Yeah.
Very, very cool then.
Right.
But it wasn't that.
She didn't have, it's a question of consent.
Exactly. So that now, I mean, and I don't know, I think some of it is like women of that time period are like, okay, I mean, we have to remember she came up with the casting couch.
Right.
I'm not saying she was on it. I'm saying they are used to being commodified like that.
Yeah.
But she did respond.
Okay.
And she said maybe he was attracted to the feminist movement of the 1970s because of Maud. I was the Joan of Arc of feminism. He certainly couldn't have done anything with Marlo Thomas of That Girl. And then he reportedly, I don't know if this was direct response or whatever, but I read some comments like that were supposedly like back at this, which was like he saw her as more of a maternal figure than a feminist icon. But he was a fan of her work on Maud.
It's just getting weirder and weirder.
Exactly. But so the part that getting back to the book, the flashback to 2013 when it sold for millions, people briefly thought comedian Jeffrey Ross had bought it after he tweeted a picture of him with the painting and a thank you message to his generous benefactor, Jimmy Kimmel. But Jimmy denied it.
Yeah.
I don't think he realized he was with new Jimmy. Not Man Show, trampoline jumping Jimmy. He's
reformed Jimmy.
That's right. So the buyer actually remains a mystery.
Yes.
So I'm very curious who it was.
How weird.
The whole thing is just strange, but I don't know.
You said it was 2014.
2013.
2013.
Yeah, close enough.
And she passed away in
2009.
How weird.
I just thought that, just the audacity is really astounding, just as the story just keeps going. And can you imagine there's this picture of you or painting and it's just circulating out there. And like, again, this is me as a private individual. And I think B. Arthur put up a lot. I mean, interestingly enough, Jeffrey Ross had, if there had been the same level of internet in the late 90s, it would have been a viral moment, I think.
Okay.
There was the Jerry Stiller roast. Okay. And so this must be the beginning of like the Central Comedy roast or whatever, because this would have been 1999. And there was a B. Arthur joke that Jeffrey Ross did.
Yeah, okay.
And
I remember reading. I don't remember if it was in this book or somewhere else, but I've read about that.
Yeah, I mean, he basically calls her a man with a really dirty joke. I mean, I've said dirtier jokes, but like, it was very rude to her, and she was just in the audience, and she took it like a champ, honestly. Sure. But I just think of
champ.
Absolutely. I just think of these other things that we've heard about her, and also feel like it's like we're talking about earlier. She's gooey on the inside. Yeah. And like I just think about all the things that she's had to hear, and I don't know. I just find it angering.
Without going further down a rabbit hole, but I think that
this is my last one. So
we were having an off mic conversation about AI, and I think if I'm a celebrity, I am quaking in my boots about the number of AI pictures that are circulating of me.
Yeah.
And at any point in time, having to justify either the veracity or the fakeness of some of these pictures. Yeah. People can and it's gotten so good so fast, people can make it look like anything. That's horrible. I do love that her response was a little petty in saying maybe he was inspired by all these other talented people that did things in the 70s and like no unique talent. He's just repeating things that he saw happen in the 70s.
I like that interpretation. I mean, and to me, it like read like a big pass, but like with an edge of sarcasm. Yeah. Oh, he must be a feminist.
Yeah, right. I definitely think that.
Yeah.
I don't think she was, poor gal. That's rough.
So, no, that's just, I don't know.
But did you see the picture?
I did.
Is it bad?
I mean, it's
Is it flattering?
Is it? It definitely is like her from her mod era.
Okay.
It's not Golden Girls era, even though that's when. And apparently, like I read several articles, and one of them he was talking about like just being like a angsty, annoyed artist that couldn't get his stuff like right in the way he wanted it, and like he and his roommate used to watch a lot of Golden Girls or something, and so I guess like she was like on his mind, and then.
I used to watch a lot of Golden Girls, so now I paint them topless.
But then it was like, then some people were like talking about how her breasts look saggy, and I'm like, they're not even hers.
They're not hers.
I thought they looked fine. They didn't look saggy.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
But that was also weird, and I was like, I don't even. Is that how you imagine her area? I don't. Get me out of here. What did I step into?
What did I Google my way into?
So, what did I sit here? What did I sit here and research my way into?
You did it yourself. And
did I tell you that that's
one Googler to another?
What I'm getting you for Christmas is my recreation of every Golden Girl topless body.
Keep it.
I'm having them 3D printed into ornaments for you.
It's just so fun to imagine asexual beings.
But I had them separated. That way you can have 8 ornaments.
Wait a minute. Is it mix and match?
Absolutely. Because the world is your oyster.
Something like that.
So Jim Colucci's book, everybody.
Jim Colucci's book. Is that the end of our book club?
I think it is. Hold on. That's my gavel.
Oh, that's the gavel?
Yeah.
That's what I should have gotten.
We need
Christmas.
a gavel for sure.
Okay, season 9, we'll have a gavel. Season 9, we'll have the Sweet Tea and TV gavel.
Yeah, we'll play a little game called What Do Salina and Nikki Remember? Oh, she takes notes though, y'all.
Well, I'm really trying to turn a leaf here. I'm trying to turn a leaf. My brain is not operating.
That's it. I'm trying to turn a page.
I'm trying to turn another piece of cheesecake into a delicious snack.
I'm trying to turn a page on 2025. That's what I'm trying to do.
1000%. Okay, so Golden Girls Forever. What was it called? Like A View from My Lanai? Behind the Lanai. The new Lanai.
You left your book downstairs, didn't you?
No, it's just the font is so
An
small.
unauthorized look behind the
Behind
lanai.
the lanai.
I'll have you know, earlier in the day, I would have remembered that.
Yeah, well. Can I close this out?
I think you're doing a great job.
So, you know the drill. DM us, email us, or contact us from the website, and you can find us all over the socials. And that's this week's Extra Sugar Sweet Tea and TV Book Club.